Hi, I'm April. I am a singer-songwriter and music teacher. I post new videos every Wednesday, so if you are new here, consider subscribing. So today we're going to be learning how to write a sad song. So there is this super pervasive myth that all artists who make good art are these tortured souls, and that is just not true in the slightest. You can write a sad song when you're happy. I think you can write a happy song when you're sad. And I think that you can also use your art as a way to work through a lot of really hard feelings. Songwriting and music and art in general can be the most cathartic thing in the whole world. But if you are feeling signs of intense depression, please do go see a mental health professional. That way your songwriting becomes healing rather than dwelling on pain. You can be an emotionally fulfilled artist and still make really amazing art. And with all of that said, let's get started. The first thing to consider when you're writing a sad song is the idea of distance. How far away are you, or is the listener, from the story that's happening? So, for instance, if I wrote a song in first person, my heart is broken, I, as the singer, am actually in the middle of the action. I'm right in the driver's seat of the song. But if I were to change that to third person, her heart is broken, now I've kind of removed myself as the singer from the story, and now I'm kind of an omniscient narrator. Writing in third person takes away a lot of the intensity, but it also allows us to look on and see a lot of what we might not be able to see if we were writing from a character perspective. It also allows us to make moral judgments about the characters and about the story without it feeling like it is directly reflecting on ourselves as characters. The other way that we can write a song is by making things a lot more intense, which is by using second person. Your heart is broken. And that's going to feel a lot more intense because now you as the listener are in the driver's seat and you're the one who's actually going through the motions. This is a great way to get your listener to empathize with your characters and with what you're writing. If you really, really want the people listening to your song to know what it's like in your head or in your character's head, second person is a really great thing to use. Another way to talk about the distance in your song is to talk about when the events of the song actually transpired. If we're writing about a breakup, for instance, she packed her bags a year ago today. Would have a little bit of distance, but you're still on the anniversary of something that happened, so you're still feeling a lot of that kind of intensity. She packed her bags tonight. I watched as she drove away. So in this example, you can see that I've actually changed the timeline of what's happening in my story. Showing how much time has gone by can actually really change the intensity level for the listener. Is this something that happened a long time ago? Or is this something that's just happening right now? Speaking of intensity, how do your stakes change throughout the song? Ideally, what we want to do is cause each chorus of our song to rise in intensity. And to do that, we're going to actually use our verses to build that feeling throughout the song. One of my favorite examples of this is the song Genius Next Door by Regina Spektor. In the song, she uses the very first verse to tell us about the local lake and how the local lake had been enchanted and the local kids go out and they swim and they drink. So then we get this chorus. If you just hold in your breath till you come back up in full. Hold in your breath till you thought it through, you fool. So clearly when we get to this chorus, we understand that holding your breath is something that you do underwater. So it makes perfect sense with what we've heard in the first verse. The thing that makes this song really cool, though, is that the intensity really builds by the time you get to the second chorus, because the second verse is not about those kids swimming in the lake. The second verse is about the genius next door and how he's brilliant, but he's working in a restaurant wiping down tables. We then hear that the genius goes swimming in the lake, but that he's holding in a secret. And now when we get this chorus again, holding your breath, can refer either to the lake or to the secret he's keeping. Because of this, we get a really intriguing lyric, but we also get a huge shift in intensity into our second chorus. When we get to the third verse, we hear that the film crews have started arriving, and that everyone's waking up in this town, and that everything is slightly off, and that our genius is sleeping. I will let you analyze that to your heart's content, but the point stands that it brings a lot of intensity to that third chorus, and that we're able to really make up our minds about that ambiguous ending. This ending brings a whole lot of intensity and packs a really beautiful punch. But it also really makes us think, and that's part of what makes this song really cool. So the way you can use this in your own song is to practice building intensity through your verses. Think about what you're saying in your chorus and how you can make that mean 3 different things, depending on different contexts in which you hear those words. Another important thing that you want to consider when you're writing your song is how much tension is there in the emotion that you're feeling. For instance, if you're writing a sad song that has an underlying anger to it, there you can hear that I'm hitting really hard. There's no pedal, it's very staccato. Versus if I were feeling a sadness that was a little bit more reminiscent, something that had maybe a nostalgic feeling to it, or something that was a little bit heavier in a feeling like guilt or apathy. As you can hear in that example, I was using a lot more pedal, there was a little bit of an arpeggio happening, and the chords are a little bit more pillowy. You're also going to notice a big change in tension based on the melody that you're using. If I'm starting my melody on a chord tone, my song is going to sound a lot less tense than if I were to start on something that's not actually a chord tone. You'll also be able to build your melody in different ways depending on how much actual tension that you want to use. You can use a lot of kind of stepwise motion if you want your song to be a little less tense. If you want something a little bit more dramatic or a little bolder, go for a big jump early on in your song. Go for like a tritone if you want. Maria builds a lot of tension really, really early on in the song. I love you, you love me. Feels a lot less intense because, oh, look how cute that is. The last idea I wanted to touch on today is a lyric idea. Taking things out of the song is actually going to do a lot more than adding things to it. Your listener is smarter than you think they are, so you can actually give them a whole lot of credit here. So for instance, if you're talking about a person who passed away and you're really, really sad about that person, if you talk about how this person used to go on long walks with you, or how you always read the same books, those are beautiful images, but just think about how much more powerful they are if you take that person out of them. So for instance, you can say, today I went on a walk alone. I finished my book, but I had no one to share it with. Leaving the empty space where that person should be is actually going to do a lot more for your listener and to help your listener empathize with you than if you were just to mention all of the things that you did with that person. Leave room for your listener's imagination. Let them fill in the blanks. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do give it a like, leave me a comment, and please do subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to see you around again.